Greetings, people of Earth. This is Dr. Radium, and welcome to the second episode of Comics Cavalcade. First, I want to thank everyone who watched the first episode. The response, the views, the subscriptions, the comments were way beyond my expectations, and I want to thank each and every one of you. Alright, we're going to start things off with our weekly comic haul. First things first is Mrs. Radium's Comics, and she started off with this week with Southern Cross #1. This is the story of a troubled girl whose sister is working on the moon of Titan and dies in an accident. Starts off with her going to reclaim her sister's body, and not to spoil it, but by the end of the first issue, it is evident that her sister's death was maybe more than just an accident. Mrs. Radium really likes this, and she's really looking forward to the second issue. Next, she has Earth's 2, World's End #23. Deadpool #43. Only 2 more issues till Deadpool dies. Wink, wink. Wolverines #10. Marceline Gone Adrift 3 of 6. Garth Ennis War Stories #6. This is the wrap-up of the Children of Israel storyline. And finally, Bravest Warriors #30. Books that we both reading this week start off with Star Wars #3. We are both really enjoying Star Wars and Darth Vader. Unfortunately, we can't say the same thing about Princess Leia. It's just not up to the same standards as Star Wars and Darth Vader. In terms of the movie universe, it's like it's the C story of the movie. Princess Leia is, thank God, it's just a mini-series. Hopefully it will get better after issue 1, but we don't have a lot of hope. We both picked up the Batman Detective Comics Endgame #1. This is a carryover from the Anarchy storyline. And we both picked up Batman Arkham Knight, prequel to the Arkham Trilogy final, and a video game tie-in. Alright, now to my comics for this month. First up is Suicide Squad #8. Next we have Amazing Spider-Man #16. Finally, Spider-Verse is over. I really enjoyed it, but it is time to get back to the regular universe. But things are going to change really fast with Secret Wars, so we'll see what happens. Amazing Spider-Man Special #1. This ties into the Inhumans. Postal #2. Really liking this series. Town full of people in the Witness Protection Program, and no crime happens in this town because they don't want to draw attention to themselves. But at the end of the first issue, murder has occurred, so things will pick up here in the second issue, and we'll get more into that story. Flash Gordon #2 from King. I love all of the old pulp characters, especially Flash Gordon. Howard the Duck #1. I haven't read this yet, but I've heard great things about it. Spider-Man 2099. I wasn't reading this before Spider-Verse. I picked up last 2 copies of 2099 to carry over the Spider-Verse story, and I decided to go ahead and keep trying it. And I was glad I did, because you can see right there on the front of the cover, the Maestro is in this storyline. When Spider-Man 2099 gets back to his timeline, things are messed up, and Maestro's there to greet him. Spider-Gwen #2. I wasn't as happy with Spider-Gwen #1 as I had hoped. Hopefully things will pick up here and they'll flesh out the storyline a little bit more. Silver Surfer #10. This is a great story, and the last issue, #9, Surfer challenged the Galactus, and things didn't work out well for him, so we'll see how it plays out in this issue. Superior Iron Man number 6. Also really enjoying this title. Should be carrying over the story about Teen Abomination. Thor number 6. Who is Thor? Well, we're not going to find out this issue. From previews, we found out that we'll finally, hopefully, we will find out the identity of female Thor in issue number 8 in 2 months. New Avengers number 31. All New X-Men 37. Fantastic Four number 644. Just one issue left until end of Fantastic Four. I don't know how to feel about this. It's one of my favorite books, one of my favorite character teams in comics. This storyline, the villain, I just think that for a big grand finale, the Fantastic Four deserves a lot better. But hopefully it'll end with a bang next issue. Ant-Man number 3. Great start to this series. Great mix of comedy and action. As you can see, I'll be facing the Taskmaster in this issue. Action Comics number 40. I did not remember reading the previews on this one, but as you can see, it's got Bizarro on the cover. I always look forward to a good Bizarro story. Okay, now we'll cover some of our recent acquisitions and back issues. First up, I got these in a lot on eBay. It's the first 5 issues of Battlestar Galactica. Been looking for these quite a while. A former shop that I used to shop at, a comic shop I used to shop at, the owner, he knew I liked old Bronze Age, Silver Age comics, and I came in one day and he had pulled out Battlestar Galactica 1, 2, and 3, and I jumped right on them. But when I got home, I noticed that where the UPCs should have been, there were blank boxes. I wasn't familiar with that, looked it up, and found out they were reprints. I was kind of upset that he presented them as first print, first run comics, and I was sucker enough to buy them. But now finally I've got the real first prints here to replace them. Okay, next is a copy of Boy Comics number 41 from 1948. I love these old Leave Gleason comics. Stories written by Charles Bureau. Art by Stanley Davis and Bob Perry. You can see the main character on here. His name is Crime Buster, and he shows up in most of the stories at the beginning, at the end, sort of like the bookend of the stories, and most of the stories are just morality tales. But you can see it's great art, great stories. Pre-code, love these old comics. Next, found this one on eBay. I bought it for the cover. You see Batman number 253 from 1973. Love this Michael Kaluta cover, Shadow there. Batman teaming up with the Shadow. Great Denny O'Neil story. Interior art was Irv Novick. But this cover, Shadow is one of my favorite pulp character. One of my favorite pulp characters, and to team up with Batman, I just couldn't pass this one up. Next up, we bought some trades here recently. First, we have Strange Detective Mysteries. This is sort of like a twist on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but a detective story, and it teams some of the greatest minds in history, both real and imaginary. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Nikola Tesla, Harry Houdini, H.G. Wells, Bat Masterson. They all teamed together to try to solve the murder of Edgar Allan Poe. I've been looking forward to reading that one. Next we have Judas, The Last Days. Read this one in the previews, sounded interesting. It's about Judas of Icarus, and he is alive in present day time and wants to die but can't. So that should prove very interesting. Next, I ordered the first trade Coward and the second trade Lawless of Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips' Criminal. I'm really enjoying the fade out, and crime noir is one of my favorite genres, so I decided to go back and try Criminal. I've heard great things about it, and this is probably the next trades I'm going to dive into. And along with those, along the same vein, I've got the deluxe edition of Jason Aaron's Scalped. Really can't wait to get into this one. I've heard really good things and looking forward to it. Alright, one last set of comics that we got, I got off eBay, is Star Slayer 2 and 3 from Pacific Comics. And if you're not familiar with this series, this is actually the first and second appearance of the Rocketeer. Dan Stevens, love his art, love the Rocketeer, one of my favorite characters, love the movie. Picked up this figure at bookstore. It's a shame that we lost Dan Stevens like we did. But this is the first and second appearance of the Rocketeer. It's a 4-part story, and it carries over into Pacific Comic Presents issues 1 and 2. Just got these in the mail the day before yesterday. Haven't read them yet, and I'm really looking forward to. If you are a Rocketeer fan, then I'd like to recommend a couple serials from the 1950s. Well, actually one, King of the Rocket Men, is 1949, and Zombies of the Stratosphere is 1952. For those unfamiliar with serials, these were 15 to 20 minute episodes that usually in 12 to 15 chapters that they would play each week at the movie theater to try to get kids to come back every week and spend their hard-earned dime. This is mostly what the Rocketeer itself, the inspiration came from, with these serials. King of the Rocket Men is the first one. It's my favorite. Stars Jeff King and Tris Coffin. A lot of footage from here is used in Zombies of the Stratosphere, and the special effects for the late 40s, early 50s were actually excellent. They were done by the Lydecker brothers, Howard and Theodore Lydecker. They did a lot of the Republic serials and Republic movies special effects, and for the time they were groundbreaking. Zombies of the Stratosphere also has the designation of being one of Leonard Nimoy's first ever film roles. He plays one of the space aliens, one of the zombies. Also, what I love about this one is you can see this robot here, one of the worst robots in film history. You just can't watch this robot and not smile every time you see him. There was a third in this series right up after Zombies. Sometimes it's called Radar Men from the Moon, other times it's called Commander Cody, Sky Marshal of the Universe, but it is another sequel to Zombies of the Stratosphere. So I highly suggest, I recommend these serials. You can find them cheap on Amazon. Actually, I think Zombies you can actually watch on YouTube, so give them a try. Alright, thanks for tuning in. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button below. Comments, questions, you can leave them down below, or you can contact me directly at drradium@gmail.com. And again, if this is your first time watching, thank you for tuning in, and would really appreciate you hitting the subscribe button. This is Dr. Radium, signing off.